That's number one. Yeah, so and it is being recorded. The session will be recorded. The second point is you keep your video on so that the speaker can connect with you. ఇప్పుడు వీడియో ఆన్ చేసి ఉంచితే మీకు స్పీకర్ మీకు అటెండ్ చేయగలరు స్పీకర్ ଟିକେ ଭିଡ଼ିଓ ଅନ୍ ରଖନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣ ଅଡିଓ ମ୍ୟୁଟ୍ କରିଦେବେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆପଣ କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା ଦରକାର ସେତେବେଳେ ସେ ଅନମ୍ୟୁଟ୍ ହବ ଆପଣ କିଛି କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ ଅଛି if you have any questions type in the chat box there is a chat box here bottom mein you can type your question so there is a 25-minute slot for all question answers question to chat box lo type kariye chat box lo type cheyali ఎవరికైనా చాట్ బాక్స్ లో టైప్ చేయడం ప్రాబ్లం ఉంటే అప్పటి అసువిధ వచ్చి ప్లీజ్ కాల్ అప్ దిస్ నంబర్ 9650814860 Ratam Srinivas he will understand both Telugu and Kannada you can talk to him so he will make or Nagaraju can you speak Odia no okay or you can talk to Nagaraj also. So Nagaraj, you can put your number in the chat box.
I can manage in Hindi, English.
Okay, you can put your number in the chat box. Help them. Idea is people have a question, they can't type to help them. Last point is some people, if their names are not there, they constantly disturb the meeting. No, they go on talking. So we will, the organizer will remove them. I don't mind. Okay. With that, I will request the president to formally welcome all of us. So please take the next slide, please. Next slide. Nagaraju?
Yeah.
No. Previous? Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, all of you. A very, very warm welcome from KVS Delhi NCR. We're back with you with a different kind of a initiative. It is an initiative to guide our children who are looking at careers and guide them on what they can do, how they can do, and how to make a mark in the industry, with respect to vacations or subjects they choose. And we are fortunate to have very illustrious colleagues from our community, Satish Garu and Prasad Garu. Today's session would be regarding accountancy and finance profession, which Satish Kottakota Garu, he is a CFO, veteran CFO and a chartered accountant. And IT and ITES, information technology and information technology enabled services, and the career options surrounding that, which will be taken up by Mr. Prasad. So I would rather welcome you all to be attentive to the program, and especially those youngsters who are looking at their careers. Because please listen to every speaker carefully. And if you have any questions, you can write those questions in the chat box, etc. And the entire session will be moderated by our GP Rao sir, Dr GP Rao and Raj Latha Kotni. Dr. Rao, over to you.
Thank you. Next one. Namaste. I will tell you why this program. See, Kalinga Vaishya community is a community organization. So we have to continuously do some program for community development. Some people do programs on marriage bureau. Some people do some program for helping some people financial help. Some people do a Karnika Parmeshwari temple. A lot of programs happen. So our people, when we talk to all our friends, all India, they said, let us do some program on careers. So then we asked them, what do we do? They said, let us tell the parents and students, what are the job opportunity? What are the careers available? Can they go to business, own entrepreneurship? Then what are the different courses available? Earlier, we only knew engineering, MBBS. Now there are many courses. So what are the courses available in India or abroad? Then are there any specific skills required for these jobs? So we wanted to do this program. We wanted to call some 10 people. Then our wise people said, sir, if you call everybody, so you cannot focus. Take only 2. So we have taken finance and accounts, one category. Another is IT and ITES, information technology information technology enabled services. Only 2 we'll do. Next time we will do some other program, maybe architecture, maybe interiors, maybe council, some other courses we'll do. That is the contest. Then we have only chosen 2 people, both from the industry we have chosen. We didn't take from a professor or somebody. Both KT Prasad and Satish Kottakota, both are working in the industry. So they know what are the courses happening, what are the jobs. And so we have chosen 2 people and chosen young people. So because they're relatively young. Young means relatively young so that they connect with the students. So we have chosen, that is the basis on which we have chosen 2 people. And we took a moderator today, a very successful lawyer, that is Raj Latha. So I will introduce all 3 of them through slides. Okay. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Nagaraju, can you show the slide? Yeah. So the slide 1 is about KT Prasad. He is very popularly known as KT. In the industry, you know, KT is, that's how you know. He's the MD, Managing Director and Regional Vice President of a company called Zendesk. He's for India and SAARC. He's an engineer, mechanical engineer, and 24 years of experience. So he's with Zendesk since 2016. Now it's almost 5 years. He's responsible for business growth and customer transformation. Before Zendesk, he was with Hewlett Packard. So HP Enterprise, a very, very known organization in the IT industry at a general manager level. And he was responsible for Microsoft business application across Asia Pacific and Japan. Before that, he worked with ADIA, PSA Data System, Agilisys, 3-4 companies he has worked, 24 years of experience, successful professional, now an MD and Regional Vice President of a large company. Welcome, Katie. So you can say good evening. Unmute yourself.
Thank you and very good evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next slide, please. Nagaraju can, yeah, next. This is about Satish Kottakota. So he's a very successful CFO. That is CFO. He's a chartered accountant and he has also done a course from INSEAD, France. He is from Sompeta. Since I am introducing Satish from Sompeta, let me also tell our KT Prasad, their parents are from a place called Kurupam, but now they are settled in Visakhapatnam. So now coming back to Satish, Satish is from Degree College from Srikakulam. So you can all connect with him. And corporate job across consumer digital, healthcare company, financial sector company. He worked with companies like ICICI Bank, Coca-Cola, HSBC Bank, Call Health. Now he's with Spandana Spurti. This is a financial services company. He's on the board of directors. He's a very, very senior person, health tech, healthcare, and insurance tech sectors. And he's a social responsibility leader. And he has been awarded several times amongst the 100 CFOs. CFO means Chief Financial Officer. Huh? He has got this. He's a guest speaker in B schools, IIMs, ISB, and ICAA. ICAA is Institute of Chartered Accountants. This is Satish. Welcome, Satish. You can say good evening to all of us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Satish. So again, I'm going back to KT Prasad. So he's also well known in the media. Wherever you see programs of ET, you will see KT Prasad on anything around customers. Okay, we'll go to Raj Latha now. That's right. See the moderator today. So we have chosen a successful lawyer, and she has got a lot of love for young people. That I'm telling you the reason why we chose her as the moderator. She wants to help young people. She wants to help the community. So that's the basis. Otherwise, she's a very successful lawyer. She's a partner of a company called Lexport. There were 40 lawyers in India, in Delhi and Bangalore. She's a partner there. She's an LLB from Delhi. She's an Indian patent agent, patents, that's that thing. She has done Masters of Science in Chemistry and Food Technology from Tirupati. She's a graduate from Visakhapatnam, and she has done schooling from Palasa. Now you can connect. A Palasa girl today in Delhi, is a known IPR lawyer, partner in a large company. Welcome, Raj Latha.
You're muted, Haya.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Can everybody hear me, sir? There are some comments that some of the voices are not clear.
Some of the voices are not coming. Okay. So
So
Raj Latha,
if
you are audible. You are audible. Let me check KT Prasad. Say good morning. Good evening.
Good evening again.
He is very much audible. Satish.
Good evening. Hi.
Yeah,
everyone.
audible. All audible. Okay. All pass. All pass. So now, before I hand over to Raj Latha, once again, I'm requesting all of you, please stay muted. If you have any question, write in the chat box. If you have a problem in writing, you call up Baratam Srinivas or our Nagaraju Amarana. Both numbers are there. You can call up, they will prepare the slides for you. So with that, I will hand over the charge to our moderator, Raj Latha. She will discuss with both the speakers and get as much information as possible for us. And then we will take the audience question. Over to Raj Latha.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Our today's session will start with Satish Garu first. Anyone who has the language barrier, I can speak Telugu, English, and Hindi very well. GP Rao sir can handle Odia and of course other many more languages. Anyone has an issue to communicate, please feel free to speak in your language which makes you comfortable. Our idea is to make sure that everybody participates and they feel welcome and their questions are answered, the reason they've joined in. Okay, having said that, we will start with Satish Garu. GP Rao sir has actually done a beautiful introduction, and I am personally very happy to see a session like this, which I'm actually really pumped. I've never, coming from a small town, I've never thought today a day will come where I see this wonderful panel, and we have because we all come from a community where we're only stuck with business, and jobs are of course are a part of our profile, but coming to a level of this job where we are able to give career options and suggestions is a very, very welcoming start. Satish Garu, if you can start off with you.
Sure. Good evening. Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. So basically, when I joined the Chartered Accountants course, all I know is there is something called a CA, and I have heard few names from my hometown, and my uncle said, especially one of my mama from Behampur joined that course, and probably at later realized the depth and width of the course and understood the life is not just, while Chartered Accountant is one of the greatest courses that I've come across, life is not just about Chartered Accountant, but there are plenty of courses which are linked to, similar to Chartered Accountant. It could be SEMA, which was erstwhile called ICWA, and Company Secretary. And over a period of time, I started developing some jealous about, B school MBAs, they were much more groomed, much more better presenting than Chartered Accountant kind of courses. But one thing I can say is, there is some blood connection between Chartered Accountants or commercial courses with the Vaishya community, because business comes naturally to us because we discuss business at our homes, at our dining tables, at our beds, and at our friendly meetings since childhood. Probably the commercial acumen really helps in getting through and making a successful career in the commerce sector, to start with a Chartered Accountant or MBA. Typically, when somebody says, okay, Chartered Accountant, we start, they're probably doing an accounting job. I don't think more than 10% of the people in the current world who are Chartered Accountant would be doing just accounting. If not 10%, maybe I'm exaggerating it, 20%. More than 20% people would be probably handling, and beyond 20% people would be probably handling a portfolio which is much wider than simple accounting. So, Latha, would you be able to focus on the presentation? I have just sent you 2 slides on the group.
You said you are sharing.
Okay. Sorry. I sent it on the group.
No, because nobody will access now. You have to share.
All right. Just give me a second while I... So typical courses that I see which are linked to Chartered Accountancy are similar linked to commerce background is like I said, SEMA, CS, and I see a plenty of opportunities even beyond these things. I see a lot of correlation. Somebody who has done a Chartered Accountants course can handle risk management and insurance, And similarly, somebody who has done a course in risk management and insurance could probably be handling a similar risk and insurance business. So it need not be that you have to do only a risk management course or an insurance course to do a risk management and insurance business. Similarly, you need not be a subject matter expert in technology to do either a analytics or to use some other technology tools or to do an ERP and a support consultant or to do SAP Oracle or to do any.
Satish, would you like me to present your PowerPoint slide? I can do that. Should I do? I can do that. Okay. Yeah, this is your slide.
Great.
Yeah.
So the way I have tried splitting this in terms of commerce courses are CIMA, CA, and ICAA as one block. Another another sector is MBAs and BBAs, which are B school MBAs and BBAs like an ISB or IIMs or maybe tier 2 B schools like Jamnalal Bajaj kind of schools. And then I have university MBAs. We have some good universities offering MBA, BBA courses, including likes of Andhra University or Kakatiya University, etc. The reason why I have differentiated a B school MBA versus university MBA is because there is a different weightage given for these courses in the market. When I go to a MNC, when I go to a corporate career, there is much more weightage given to a B school MBA compared to university MBA. Not because the course or curriculum differs, but because the people are groomed, because the communication skills, the skill set, the focus on the presentation skills, etc., are different between B school versus university. I'll be happier if somebody can say university is also doing good, but I thought I should highlight before we take a decision how to choose a good MBA, BBA school. For example, in the recent campuses interviews that I hire, I typically prefer IIMs and probably tier 2 IIMs and then ISB kind of tier 1 schools, and probably I'll go to tier 2 schools like in our AP a famous B school is in a Geetham MBA college or B school. Similarly, we have few things like ICFA etc. in Hyderabad, and we have many such schools across India. One more thing that is coming up very well on the career side is insurance and risk management. Risk management in our life so far was limited only for banking sector that we have seen. As the insurance penetration is moving from 20+% to 30+% in the next 2 years, thanks to sad COVID. As the insurance penetration is increasing, I see a huge future for commerce graduates or commerce background people to build a good career on the insurance risk sector. I'm moving to another box where those who cannot do a completion of CA or a CIMA or CS, what I suggest is either you complete half of the course, you still have a bright future. Once you enter into a company, probably they look into are you a chartered accountant or are you a semi-qualified chartered accountant. Once you enter into a company, I think people forget about your qualification. They will only see what skill set are you bringing in. Are you the Mr. Reliable? Are you the Mr. Committed? Are you the person for the company for the respective function? One of the important factor here in career is how well you are building relations. All life is not only about a good quality accounting. It's also about what kind of partnership are you doing with your own colleagues? How are you dealing with your boss? How are you dealing with your teammates? Are you showing bossism? Are you helping the people? Are you just sticks always? Are you also using carrots? So depending on this, one is qualification, which I believe is only meant for breaking the barrier in the early days of career. I realize every time I meet few people, they say, are you qualified chartered accountant? Are you a semi-qualified chartered accountant? Maybe after 5 years of experience in a corporate, no one talks about it anymore. Only when we are student, people talk about it, or maybe till 5 years, because just to get it out of the mindset. So that is one. And then accounting, there are courses offered by CA Institute, which is technical course or a qualified accountant, not a chartered accountant membership, but they tell you or train you in a good accounting. One of the best thing I could come across recently is a lot of market is getting open for analysts to support in fundraisers, whether it is a debt or a loan syndication, or whether it is capital raise for large companies. You see a IPO hitting every now and then in the market. That means you need some analysts in the market. So that is where I kind of probably believe a lot of opportunity for CFA kind of courses. And as you see, you would hear even in the technology side, it's always about big data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. It's all about data. If you see all these three aspects, everything talks about data and how you use data for. I have tried splitting these courses, from a qualification, probably the courses that I have mentioned, from a services that they can render into various aspects. While we are fundamentally known for accounting, you have various specializations available well within accounting, like basic accounting. Then you have Indian accounting standards or international financial reporting standards. Then you have global reporting model. Then you have offshoring, like you keep hearing BPO, KPO, whatever the best work the people are supposed to do in UK, US, or Europe sites probably gets done out of India. That is called offshoring. Then typical accounts payable, you see people paying bills, etc. It's called procure to pay. And then you have receivable management, and similarly treasury, managing fund, dealing with the banks, etc. Then you have regulatory reporting, and those who are large manufacturing companies would also have something called cost accounting, which is mandatory for manufacturing setup. Then I come to another set of services available within finance. I do management information system kind of a role, and then you have a decision support system and financial planning analysis. You first project what business you want to achieve, and then you compare your actuals and then analyze and tell your business partner how to do a rolling estimate for the company. Then you have business partners, pricing, debt syndication, investment banking, analytics, mergers and acquisitions falls under finance. So another thing we keep typically understand about the chartered accountants, they are called auditors, so-called auditors. They know how to audit books of account, they know how to do a tax audit, etc. In that, there are assurance typically stands for statutory audit or a company audit kind of practice. Then you have internal audit, instead of reporting to the shareholders, you report to the management as to internally in detail what kind of audits, and what kind of work is happening in the company. Then you have forensic audit. It is just like a investigation. When something goes wrong seriously, some large fraud happens. You keep hearing many companies name these days. The forensic audit is being deployed. Similarly, you have technology audit, you have special audits, etc. Back to tax. One another factor that you see, people are very famous for being a chartered accountant, cost accountant, is tax practice. You have probably GST has simplified our lives from custom duty, excise duty, etc. Direct sales tax, indirect sales tax, etc. Central sales tax. But I would broadly say direct tax and indirect tax, international tax. As the business going beyond beyond India, and as we become global organization, we end up learning about taxes. And if I have to open a subsidiary, say in a foreign country, where do I have my investment holding from? Which country is giving me a better tax planning? Which country is giving me lesser capital gains? For example, recent past 5 to 10 years, Singapore has been the destination for people to start investment holding companies to incorporate. Typically offshoring, like you would have seen, one of the largest employer in Hyderabad is Deloitte. They have a 25,000 seater capacity here. Majority of the work that happens out of Hyderabad Deloitte is tax planning and tax return filing for US citizens. So the Deloitte US work gets offshore to India, and Indian employees do tax work for US US citizens. Tax compliance is like return filing, TDS return filing kind of work. And then you have tax planning. Again, I said, there is a tax planning for international as well as tax planning for domestic businesses. In case of tax planning, you don't teach them how to avoid tax. You only advise them as to how to reduce your tax burden on the organization. And then special tax matters, like there is search and seizures, there is appeals that happens in the commissionerate, etc. So if you see what I have mentioned here is, probably I would call it only a tip of iceberg. Every line item that I mentioned here itself is a great career opportunity. I can build a long career. India can probably give employment for a few lakhs of people only in something called IFRS and ITES. Similarly, reporting, offshoring. So everything that you point out in this, page, probably an opportunity itself. One of the other thing I kind of suggest is technology has really changed the way chartered accountants or any of the commerce graduates have been working. For example, you do a lot of analytics and make the business decision much easier for you. I would take an example. If you are working for an e-commerce company, you decide what product to be sold highest in the market, or you decide what product to be sold at what price. As you log into from 2 different systems, probably you'll be finding 2 different prices for 2 different logins from 2 different locations of the same country. So that is probably pricing engaged by a dynamic engine. I have noted most of the large e-commerce companies is either engaging MBA from large B schools, or which are typically analysts or chartered accountants to set these dynamic pricing. While I understand it is always done by a robot or always done by an algorithm, somewhere, sometime, the algorithm and robot is also already designed only by an accountant or only by an MBA graduate in the background. Similarly, I see a lot of opportunity on the technology-driven e-commerce. E-commerce is something as an opportunity. I wouldn't say just e-commerce means selling a good. It can be a sales of service. It can be an innovation. I don't need to tell you. You see hundreds of apps on your mobile phone, primarily driven by the e-commerce and driven by the technology. One thing I feel is, as people come from business backgrounds, we should probably focus on making people focus on entrepreneurs or as a business. For us, business need not be the typical historical business that we have been doing, right? For example, we have been running gold shops or metal shops or kirana shops, etc. Maybe business is much beyond. Now digital channel has opened up much more business opportunities. So I would request parents and the students also start think of being an entrepreneur, whether at the early stage of the career, whether after 5-10 years of job or service. Please do focus some time on the entrepreneurship. Whatever our parents and our grandparents have done so far in the historical times was entrepreneurship. Now it has to be presented with a different layer on top of the regular business mind that we always have. Probably I'll be happy to answer if there are any questions on this. I'm conscious of time here.
Satish Garu, I have a very interesting question.
Yes, please.
With your ending line, you said entrepreneurship. I think if you use the word startup, that will excite the younger generation, because we're in the world of startups, which as a community, which comes very naturally to us, but the generation, the next generation is most interested in those words, like a startup and all. I'm 100% sure that everybody has the very much skill set inside them. Can you, tell us more for the audience benefit, how to be prepared for a job, like which job that you in your field, which are very dynamic and stressful? What kind of soft skills that are required? Because I understand most of the skills you pick up as you work. What we learn from our colleges need not be, we are useful in a workspace. But what kind of, and how do you prepare yourself to enter into a field so that you work for some time and then you reach to a stage of being a startup or you're on your own, whatever. But what is the basic skill set?
So while we all come with a very good business acumen, one of the fundamental places, one of the challenges that we typically come across, whether it is in the corporate world or in the startup, is communication. We probably think communication means English. It is not. Communication is nothing but how you communicate what is there in your mind to other person. If he understands whether it is Telugu or Korean language, doesn't really matter. However, English becomes our global language for communicating with various people. I would strongly recommend, especially for people who come from our community, to focus on communication skills, which includes primarily the English speaking skills. Most of the people are very smart. I have one of my best friends who's, I can bet he is much smarter than me. But only the reason why he failed in the corporate sector but went back into chartered accountant practice is only because of the communication skills. English and how proficient are you? And English need not be accent always. It is always how, whether the other person is understanding or not. And communication includes your presentation skills. As I said, B-school MBAs typically focus more on communication, including presentation skills, whereas our university school is only a syllabus, book reading, writing question and answers, and move on. Maybe very less focus on the presentations. I would request everybody to kind of start focusing on the communication skills from the early stage. Do not feel uncomfortable speaking in a language that you don't understand. Probably somebody will laugh at me on my English. Probably somebody will laugh at my presentation. I think that stage fear, or that fear of people laughing at me, has to go. if we can cross that in the early days of our college days, probably life is so beautiful for most of us. I see people are very smart when they come from, from this community, but probably they need to improve more on some of these communication skills. To focus on the startup, I see, I come across at least 5-6 startup proposals every now and then. I sometimes feel very bad. I don't get to see many from our community. I mean, I'm not here to say community, but I really feel bad. Not many are coming out. Probably parents also have to think, startup is a new mantra for the career. Need not be either do a business that we have been doing so far in our hometowns or go and do a job. I don't think anyone else does focus or encourage people for the startups. There are plenty of opportunities wherein people from our own community can probably advise them as to how to launch a startup, how to launch and how to run, how to raise funds, etc.
I agree with you, sir, because communication is definitely a pointer. Because when I moved to Delhi, I studied in Telugu medium. From my school, I specifically added my GJ college, which I don't usually add in my slide. I specifically added because I have learned that it is not impossible. Yes, it is difficult. You struggle. I couldn't speak Hindi. I couldn't speak English. Yes, I was good topper with English in a book. Like Renan Martin, I was topper. But when I have to speak, you can't speak. It is a difficult task. And a city like Delhi, I mean, you have left, right, center problems. So yeah, I agree with you. And as a community, I would like to use the word community because this is what we are trying to focus. We have to keep encouraging. We have to keep talking. Yes, I also believe in the fact that there's nothing called good English or an accent. Just if you're able to communicate, you're good to go.
That's well and good.
Yeah. So,
and my experience on this is, when I went first for my CA, we are supposed to write Sunday tests. We have to clear 10 tests. Same subject I wrote 4 times because I know what I'm writing. I'm not very confident whether the other party is understanding my writing. First time I went into English medium, till BCom I was also Telugu medium. So when I went to Chennai and wrote my first exams, till I get the first result saying, I have passed and they understood my communication, probably I never had to look back. It was a test for me to understand my communication rather.
On this note, I'll be moving on to KT Garu. I would like to inform the audience that we'll be taking your questions at the end of the session. If you can either write down in the chat box or you can write down on a pen and paper. If time permits, we will let you ask your own questions. Please do write down your questions. KT Garu, thank you very much. I'm very excited to see you on the panel, and I know you've been very busy and you've joined in. It excites me that people who multitask really excite me. You're able to do many things. GP Rao Garu?
Yeah, Latha, organizers, please remove your slides. KTP will he will share his own slides. So you can remove slide share, you can stop.
Okay. This is my slides. This is my slides. Uncle.
You are sharing?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And I want to start by saying thank you and very good evening. In fact, I don't know it is a coincidence or is it a purpose driven that you pick panels today who have studied up to intermediate or a +2 up to Telugu medium. I'm one among those. Latha, I'm a similar. We all lived in the similar category. When you come to your engineering, you can't communicate because English is not a primary language that we speak to. And I was talking to a few of my cousins and my niece and nephews and stuff like that. And I was telling them, if you don't communicate to your professor, you can't demonstrate that you are one such person who understands the concepts. Raise your hand and talk. You could be penalized in the first year or so by your own professors that, you might not be a bright student. So it's very important as a communication, and I'm so glad you touched upon it. And I'm going to touch upon those topics as well. But I think a lot of similarities, I can really relate to everything that Satish and you spoke so far. And I want to start by saying, there are IT, ITES, fortunately or unfortunately, doesn't have an entry barrier. What I mean by entry barrier. So I'm a mechanical engineer. I've studied in Karnataka University, but I am in IT. I've started my career as a programmer on a C. and then eventually grew from being a programmer to wherever I am today. You don't need to be a computer science graduate. You don't need to go to your engineering in computer science. You don't need to be in electronics and communications. You don't need to be any particular graduation. You could do anything literally you want. But if you're passionate, you got to have a passion. What do you mean by passion? Your heart need to go in and say, I want to go create a program to do certain things. If you have that passion and urge, trust me, you will make a beautiful career for yourself. And probably I could be a small example, because even though I'm a mechanical engineer, I had a strong passion for computers on IT, and I pursued, thanks to my parents and thanks to my dad, who's given me opportunity to learn outside of my curriculum to pursue what my interests are. So find your interests are. And I put in some hot skills today, and I'm going to touch upon very quickly what these skills are. Now, number one is chatbot. So in today's world, I think we are talking about COVID and pandemic in the last 15, 16 months. All of us are so habituated to order from, your favorite retailer or e-tailer, we call them. Instead of retailer, we call them e-tailers, then they become e-commerce. Either it's Amazon, Flipkart, or Myntra, or maybe a big basket if that delivers in our home and groceries, vice versa. You look at, if they have, all of them have one thing in common called customer service. And they might have one icon on the right-hand side called, chat with me or ask me a question. That's nothing but a chat. So today, businesses wanted to communicate with, customers in a very effective manner. The effective manner could be a chatbot. This is the mission or artificial intelligence powered bot communicating with customers. This is the most sought after technology in the market today. And because most of the businesses today, even though you're a traditional retailer, traditional businesses that you're doing, everybody is trying to be on, this curve of growth on digital, which is basically selling on to Amazon or a Flipkart or vice versa, any of these companies. And if you have that, if you want to enable a way of communicating to your customers and help solve the problem, chatbot becomes very, very important. So this is the number one hottest skill, which is in today and also even last year. I think it will be also there for next 3 to 5 years. Most companies, they will want to build a chatbot to communicate to the customers. The chatbots can be built. There are a lot of companies who provide a chatbot, as a tools, but they all need to be customized for a business. That can be done in a language called Python. So like I said, I've started my career as a C programmer, and a lot of people have done, if you go look at our academics in a computer science or anywhere in the engineering or any other things that we learn, we hear a lot of technology words. In today, Python is the most prominent programming language, if you want to call it as, is most sought after. Python is a skill set and technology that gets used to build chatbots. And you can also do a lot of artificial intelligence and machine learning. What is a machine learning? I'll just make it very, very simple for today's conversation. Machine learning means, humans have an ability to learn by looking at or reading through, right? We all learn. As we have started our careers or maybe our schooling, we all learn through. The machines also can be equipped to learn on what people do with the machines. It can learn automatically on how people will interact, and you can build a program to do that. And that's why we call a machine learning as a concept. And you can use a machine learning and you can smartly power that machine to be acting, intelligent to answer questions or anything that could come up from customers. Now that can be done using Python. So Python becomes very clear epicenter for everything that is happening today and probably will happen tomorrow. Now, if you guys wanted to get, everybody uses Facebook, I'm sure, right? And if I ask you to raise number of people who use Facebook, I'm sure all of you raise. Facebook built on Python. You talk about any new technology which has come out in the market. There is something called Amazon. Everybody uses Amazon, also built on Python. Any scalable technology that is built in the last few years, it's built on Python. So it is most sought after skill, and it's also widely sought after skill in startups. So startups are all wanted to build a scalable programs, so they use Python as a language. So please, if you're trying to get your kids as a parents into a path to be successful, use Python as a way forward. Number 3 hottest skill that I think which is very important today is TensorFlow. TensorFlow is nothing but it's built by Google, and it is a kind of a framework to build artificial intelligence powered programs that have we talked about it. In today's world, I'll go to the next one called cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is nothing but imagine we have, we want to make sure that all our programs, data, everything is secure so that hackers doesn't come in and steal your personal data or any company valuable trade secrets. Now, the more and more people using data, more and more people using mobile devices, more and more people using applications, apps, which runs on your mobile devices, more and more need for security. This is the most sought after space. If you have a +1, +2 or intermediate students and who want to probably getting into graduation, and if they wanted to look at engineering as a course, cybersecurity is one such course which gets offered by many engineering colleges as a specialty. So this is a computer science cybersecurity. Similarly, they also have cybersecurity or as data science. I went to the last one, I skipped one for a purpose. So these are very sought after courses that your kids can go into so that they have a very bright career when they come out of it. Now, the last one is cloud computing. Now, this is a very generically used term. I'll make it very, very simple. It's called a public cloud. And there are 3 public clouds which are hugely popular in India and the world. That's number 1 is AWS, called Amazon Web Services. In a tech world, we call that as AWS. The second most popular is Azure. Azure is from a company called Microsoft. Microsoft built this cloud platform, and that's where most of the technology now gets used on. If you're using a Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, all of them run on Microsoft Azure, just so that you know. And if you're seeing, all of us joined in Zoom, right? The Zoom, application runs on AWS, Amazon Web Services. Zoom also built on Python, so that you know. Zoom also uses TensorFlow. Zoom also uses cybersecurity, also data science, so that you just understand the technology that we use today also all literally has it here. The last one is called GCP, called Google Cloud Platform, which is also very popular. All of us, if we don't know anything that we're searching for, people say Google it, and that basically runs on Google Cloud Program. Very, very popular. Now, these are very broad technology. What I want to cover the rest, it is ITES is a very broad, and I want to take as many questions as possible from all of you. So make sure that you ask your questions so that I can answer them. In the interest of time, I can't cover all the other skills that might be available. But if you heard about customer relationship software, CRM, it's called as, it's also popular. If you heard about something called ERP, enterprise resource planning, or a SAP, if some of you know, it is what we call a back-end software or a back office software. Very, very popular, still popular. But they might not be in the top 10. They could be in top, maybe 15 or 20. Now, I want to talk about career as option. And I think this is very particularly for those people who are experienced, or at least they're just starting their career. Having, and making a choice in a career is super important. And it's very often confusing, because today I'm a programmer, or I might be a tester, or I could be working in a BPO, which is an ITES, or I could be working in a startup, or it could be working in anywhere. And all of us have a path to choose. And those paths to choose sometimes could be unilateral. That means you can go in one direction, you can't probably go back and forth. So let me put it this way. You heard a title called software engineer. In IT, we call that is a basic job for getting entry into an IT company. And then you become a team leader. From team leader, you could be still technology. And after that, you would have a split of career. Either you could choose become a technology and continues to be a technologist, that means you will continue to program, you'll work with programmers, or you become a project manager, or become a very general manager, and eventually will start managing a business. It is very important. And I think you know, Satish talked about startup culture. Our community, we all know how to manage business. If you have the same sense of what we do at home, you apply to your career and you will have a very clear path. Let me help you, you know, a flow chart of how do you make a career. And all the people who are working should definitely have a clear career plan. This is very, very important to be successful. Sorry. So I'll quickly cover. You know, make sure that if you're starting a career or just started a career, make sure that you understand yourself. You know, self-assessment is the best assessment. Make sure that you understand. Always have list of occupations that you want to aspire for. Our second way that I would say, always have a bigger aim. Don't aim lesser. If you are a software engineer today, don't aim for a project manager. Don't aim for a team leader. I would say aim for, you know, I want to become a CEO, and bigger that I want to become, you know, maybe entrepreneur. That's my ambition. That's my career growth. Make sure that you have a big career plans so that you can get down and create a small little steps to go there. Very, very important in IT. And the more transparency and more clarity that you have for a career, you know, your company that you're working for will appreciate that clarity that you will have. Okay. And then you will conduct a little bit of interviews for yourself so that you understand what you want to become. Then make a choice. Remember, career choices should be made. It doesn't mean that this is the only choice that you'll make, but make a choice. Explore that choice so that, you know, and have a small little goals that you can keep. If you want to become a CEO, from a software engineer, you will not become a CEO overnight. To become a CEO, you need to understand financials of the company. You need to understand go-to-market, we call sales, we call marketing. You need to understand all other aspects of the business. So make sure you identify small little things before you become a CEO. There are no shortcuts in career. If you become, you know, if you go shortcut, take a shortcut and get to the top, remember the bottom will call you at some time. So make sure that you build your career very, very strong. And very important, when you write down what you want to become, it becomes very clear in the, you know, mind. Now, this is a small little advice that I've put across for freshers and people who are experienced. And I want to talk first by freshers. Number one, remember in your college, if there are 150 people who are in the same class, how could, if I'm coming to your campus for a campus interview, how would they differentiate? All of you would be in the computer science or electronics or whatever. Most of them would have got 70%. So differentiating yourself by going beyond academics, it is the number one thing any company who comes for a campus interview will look for. So make sure that you create that. Second, when you get an opportunity as a first job, don't look down. Take the first opportunity, work hard, because first breakthrough is so important. Don't neglect the first breakthrough. Very important, even further to get there, make sure that you do small internships. So in the second year or a third year of your graduation, look for companies and people who can give you a small internships to give you a flavor of what the job life would be, how does the work atmosphere would be. Last but not the least, and super, super important, be confident. You should be confident to express what you want to know. This is the secret mantra to be successful and get a job in the campus interviews. Now, if you're experienced, my 4 advices are: make sure that you have a career that is stable. That means don't jump companies every 6 months to 1 year because that is getting paid 50,000 rupees more or 1 lakh rupees more. Please don't look for money in the first 5 years. Build your career like a foundation for your home. Remember, when you build your home, your foundation becomes very important. Build that as foundation. So the more stable that you are, the more companies appreciate a stable candidates rather than people who jump. Remember, number 2, this is very often that I look at it. When you write a resume, CV, profile, whatever you want to call it as, be transparent and truthful. If I, as an interviewer, find something within your CV that is not applicable, you've not done it, I will start suspecting you, doubting you, and that means I will not select you. So being truthful and to your CV and to yourself, will go a long way in our career. The third is, I talked about career plan. Make sure that you have a career plan. This is what every company will want you to do. Last tool, use LinkedIn. So if you're a experienced person, you should know having actively on LinkedIn like a tool. LinkedIn is a working community. People like Facebook connects friends. The LinkedIn connects professional people together, and be active in there. If you got to be active, participate, to share your views, very, very important. Like you might have heard of Twitter, you would have heard about Facebook. For professionals, it's LinkedIn. And the last, very important as a foundation, irrespective whether you're a fresher or a lateral experience, work smart. Being smart is super important. You got to continuously learn. And I'm not boasting, even till today, or even if you ask Mr. GP Rao or Satish or anybody, we keep learning every day. The day you stop learning, the day you stop growing. Very, very simple. And third, communication, both written, verbal, and all other communication. So when you speak, be confident and expressive. Last, find a mentor in the industry. Find somebody who can coach you, mentor you. The journey of career is very, very difficult and quite confusing, many options. Having a mentor will help you in the long way. And finally, I want to say thank you for giving me opportunity. If there are any questions that you might have, due to interest of time, I could not cover everything, but please feel free to ask me any questions. I'll happy to answer in the best manner that I can. Latha, over to you.
Thank you, KT Garu. In fact, I have myself learned a lot of pointers specifically about LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, I joined 15 years back. Somehow I have actually left LinkedIn behind. I think I'll open up my LinkedIn account and start getting connected, because what happens is, as you get into career, there are these phases that come. Specifically, like I have already warned you that I'll pick up this topic about women, so I'm going to go with it. How we, as a career person, we do not get those choices. You have to mix life, work, and many more things when you have to come to work. So now I've come to a stage where I do have time on me, where all those pointers you spoke about, like you spoke about, Satish Garu also spoke about communication, confidence, go beyond your, whatever work you're doing, read more. We've never got all those options, but now today, I'm in a position where I can do it. So I would like to tell everyone that there is no stopping point. You can actually start afresh. You should always have that plan, like you said. Plan can start much later.
Yeah.
Nobody decides for you. And with my personal experience in the world of law, it's an entirely different ball game altogether. I have done a very traditional way of studying. When I entered law, all I realized is, you are looked down as a junior. That's how they drag you. That's how they train you.
Absolutely.
You are trained to face the judges. You're trained to face rough environments. Apart from what Satish Garu and you have added, my personal experience is embracing yourself and accepting yourself is first. It is okay if you are not the topper. It is okay if you're an average performer. Who decides for you? That's what I started off with, because I was having problems in writing an email, typing a question. First, accepting yourself and looking at your strength. Put up your pointers. Yes, okay, I am very, very good with this. You can work on it. Nobody should actually look down upon you that, okay, maybe you can't do X and Y, and they can work on it. And you can always learn. And also another pointer, both of you have spoken about passion. So it comes with a lot of price, and it's a luxury. If you ask me, I cannot have passion in courts, because it is everybody, a lot of even men, because you have to have responsibilities, you take care of many more things, and we have to, I feel, work passionately wherever you want and keep trying harder. And how about this is the question I'm going to before I go on to the audience questions. This is the question I'm going to pose at both of you, which I've been having in my mind. Why is this a trend of doing an engineering and doing MBA and joining the bank? So why are we actually blocking either an engineering seat, especially the IITs or whatever? I don't know why this trend. How do these youngsters or parents get their children prepared for a setup like this? Are you supposed to be ready, or what are you going to gain? Maybe Satish Garu will start off with it so that I'll get to you.
Sure.
To give you an example, if you wanted to be topmost engineer, you just need to be only an engineer. If you want to be a successful CEO, but still understand the engineering language, you better do engineering first and also do an MBA. So typically what happens if I'm just an MBA, the engineers will give me a goalie and say, this is how the project has to be. I don't have a choice but to believe them, right? So if I'm an MBA along with an engineering, I also understand their thing. And two, MBA is all about business skills, right? So those who want to fast pace their career, MBA is a great addition along with an engineer. And as I just want to repeat, study probably for learning rather than just for marks and certificate and grade. I think that is something that I fundamentally believed, and it is very helpful for everybody. I've seen chartered accountant rank holders coming and failing in the corporate world. I've seen those who take 4 or 5 years to clear CAs, but really doing well in the corporate career, because those who study will probably understand it and implement it in practically. And those who are only studying for getting ranks and marks, probably partially successful and partially failure as well. Only that subject and content is very important.
Yeah, I think, Latha, if I can add there, I think unfortunately all of us being told on, this is a stigma that we live, called there are only 2 career options, called doctor or engineer. It's like you go back to family, the perfect family picture is nothing but a boy and a girl and a family, right? Why 2 girls and our parents cannot be a perfect family, or 2 boys? It's all what's in our mind, right? There are plenty of career options available beyond doing the engineering or a doctor. You are a lawyer by profession. That's again a great gesture, and you have plenty more. And I'll give you example. I'll probably give example of my own daughter. My daughter currently, my elder daughter is currently in +1 or intermediate first year, and she made a conscious call that she doesn't want to become a engineering graduate. She said, I like being in the design. She's pretty good at design, and she said, Dad, I want to make a career in design. So I think, yeah, and she made a conscious call. As a parents, I think all of us as parents, we need to allow and have a conversation, open conversation with our kids, so that, we understand what their interests are. So a lot of people told me that, hey, I don't know. I asked my son or a daughter, what you want to become? They said, parents or mom or dad, whatever you want us to tell us, please tell us. But if you're a parent, here is a technique or a small, I would say technique I can give you. Go back, look at your kids' marks in the last 10th standard. If there are 10th standard like my daughter, 9th standard, 8th standard, 7th standard, 6th standard, compare their marks, maths, physics, chemistry, language, everything. They might be great in what we give, but the marks will reflect. Don't look at final year marks. Look at their term sheets and everything else. As a parents, we often don't find and look at all of this. Now, if all of us in a community, we are very good with maths, because I think that's given by God grace. We are good at statistics. Apply that into our own kids. Just look at the reflection of last 3-4 years, and it will tell you very clearly, are we trying to push our kid into engineering if they're not strong in mathematics or statistics? Maybe they're strong in something else. That will give you a signal. If you as a parent, they're not able to have a conversation, get them to talk to an outsider within your family community. Maybe I'll request more President Srinivas and Mr. GP Rao to have more sessions of enabling kids and giving more careers, or in terms of mentorship. I think a lot of industry experts are sitting here. I think if we can be a mentor to advise our community kids, maybe there could be an opportunity for all of us to actively contribute and create a more vibrant community to give them whatever we know, and let them, we can teach them.
Latha, I just want to intervene. It's a wonderful suggestion from KT Prasad. Seniors in KVS community who are successful in entrepreneurship, successful in business, successful in profession, successful in jobs. they all should volunteer to mentor KVS students and KVS young executives. We'll take up this as a mission. Thank you very much, Katie. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I go with the audience questions, sir?
Yeah, there are many. Should I help you? First is from.
I've written down some questions, sir. If I miss out, maybe if you can.
Yeah, you help. Yes, for you.
So first question is, of course, the golden words startup. One of the audience have asked how we can, help, or how we can start, initiate the process of having a startup and all those things. It's a very big area. KT Prasad Garu has actually given a very good suggestion. The mentor setup, once we create, maybe we'll be able to handhold. And as a community and as a group, I have seen a lot of talent who are actually willing to help. It's not that they don't want to, they're willing to help. Maybe we can create a small database or whatever. Like Mr. Kotni always helps. I've seen him investing also against my wish and will. He says, no, I've seen them. This person will turn out. I have not got that kind of help when I could have done. And there are many people who does that. That is one question which we will keep it on hold, because startup is a very, very broad area. And as a legal expert also, I can say X and Y and Z steps have to be taken. The consortium of mentors, maybe we can handle that. Second question is about internships. How we can get good internships for the colleges, like you've spoken about doing internship. How can someone achieve that?
So I'll cover the first one in startups also. And small hint is actually most of the states, startup programs. If you guys know Mr. Narendra Modi, when he came to the power in 2014, he started saying they called Digital India, Skill India, and then he started a campaign called Startup India. So the central government of India has a program called Startup India. There is a separate website where if you have a startup idea, you can go. Every state, every major city has something called incubators. So the startup incubators, if you go in, there are people who can advise you. They can tell you, they can give you a space to sit and things of the nature. So there are many avenues, including I'm from Bangalore. The Karnataka government also has a startup program. Andhra Pradesh government might not have. I think Telangana government has it. Telangana government in Hyderabad has something called T-Hub. So T-Hub has startup incubator. And similarly, you go across the country, every major city has a startup incubator. Now, the second question about internships. I think the first source of internships is your college itself, your seniors who have done jobs. Second, don't be afraid to ask within your community if there are anybody who can give it. But very importantly, most of the large entrepreneuring companies like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, all the companies have internship program. It's all listed into their website. So if you are seeking internship, do not plan your internship when you got a break. Please plan for at least 1 year before or 6 months before. Start looking at avenues and sources. Which companies can give you internship? Does your placement officer within your college can give you some internship options too? If you have affiliated to universities, like some of the companies have affiliated to Geetham, like Mr. Satish said, those colleges will have access to those companies. Hence, you will get internships. Those are the easy ways. Easy ways is going to the companies and applying on their website. Second, having that community within your college friends or your seniors who have actually passed out. Talking to them will help you. And third, very importantly, eventually, this community that we're going to create under the leadership of Mr. Srinivas and GP Rao, we will definitely be able to identify whatever we know and put that into a single container, if you want to call, so where people can straight away apply to that internships.
Okay, thank you, KP Garu. Next question. I'm sorry, GP Rao sir, I missed writing the names of people who have actually given the suggestion of questions.
The first question on the entrepreneurship was from T. Lahari. And second question was from Ram Prasad. What kind of support normally we get from government? The T-Hub is there in Bhubaneswar. Also, Odisha government has started an incubator. And the third question is from Srinivas Prasad. He's asking KT how to look for internship. So he has answered. Now the fourth question is from Suman. he says engineers, freshers who are not getting job from campus. So they are studying, they're doing engineering or MBA or BBA, they are not getting jobs. What do they should do to get job by through how to plan? So basically how to get a job when the college is not able to get you the jobs. So
I can take this. Of course, KT can add value being an engineer himself. Engineers are not getting jobs in the campus primarily because of two reasons. One, the college is not capable of arranging a campus recruitment. Two, the students are also just doing engineering for the sake of doing engineering and not really skillful to get a job in the campus itself.
Doing engineering.
Sorry?
Go on, sir. Go on, Satish. Go on.
Maybe I don't intend to disrespect anybody. See, probably some of the areas in engineering we need to focus during, if the college is not great, is probably from year 3 onwards to focus on the skill. People do focus on learning some software courses, do focus on learning some additional courses on the engineering related subject that they want to focus on, and get on to finish to be ready for the campus. Alternatively, we also have a lot of finishing schools available in the large cities like Hyderabad, Bangalore kind of thing, wherein whatever is the gap between what the college has taught you and how you are able to present yourself to the interviewing panel versus what you are expected to. That gap is filled by the finishing schools. It could be a technical gap, it could be a technical skill, or it could be a soft skill. Any of these skills can be filled through this. Third thing is you join a pool campus. I don't know what exactly is the word. A couple of colleges come together into one campus and coordinate for campus recruitments. I have seen a couple of them happening in central. One college arranges the campus interview, few other colleges join together. It could be an initiation by the college authorities, or it could be initiated by a student himself. Probably these three things will help you, getting onto the job soon after the campus is done.
Raj Latha, you want to ask next question?
I have a question.
Yes.
For Mr. Prasad, KT Prasad. KT, you said that we should do some kind of a platform for the youngsters for internship and mentorship, both the things. What I have seen is that our intentions are all good, but the initiative has to be taken. It may be a small initiative. We have umpteen number of app developers and software engineers in our community. My suggestion, it's out of the, I'm just speaking aloud what is happening in my mind, is that we should announce a small competition. We can fund it, no problem, from KVS Delhi, for development of an app, which is a platform for the experts as also the intern seekers, so that and there's a moderation in between, so that people don't get flooded. There's a process of filtration, and if we can do something like that, you are at the helm of an IT hub, which is Bangalore, and otherwise also you're an IT person. So I don't know how to take it forward, but we should take it up and bring it to a logical conclusion.
Absolutely, Mr. Srinivas. I think I'll work with you offline. I think that's a great idea, having an app or a way of getting everybody to come together. People can ask a question if they have a career question. So whatever we're discussing today can be taken into offline continuation. I will also put together some thoughts. I'll share it with you and Mr. GP Rao as well, and with the rest of the panel. And then we will figure out what is the right path to do it. Is it app better? Is it a WhatsApp group? How do we start maybe first and maybe go to the next one? So let me put together some thoughts and give you some ideas.
Very good question. In the audience, we have Vinay Rao also. So I'll connect. Both of you can work on this, take a lead. He also. I think next question from Arun Kankala.
Yeah, we have more questions, sir.
Yeah, please.
It is more than a question, it's a statement which actually has got my attention. Mr. Ramohan V has actually correctly said that there's something called financial freedom, which is not there with many of the families. It need not be our own community. There are many situations where we do not have the luxury of having a financial freedom to choose whatever careers for the kids, which is a fair point. But I think that's how the whole world is operating. I would like to understand from the panel's point of view, what do you say about this pointer about choosing a career while having limited financial freedom?
You know what? Some of the courses like Chartered Accountants, EW, etc., is probably world's cheapest. You just pay some 10,000-20,000 rupees of registration fees, then you can study yourself. I know you don't need to pay a large amount the way you pay for MBA university. I would probably say cheapest. Probably as good as your government degree colleges, a government 12th standard colleges. You spend similar money for chartered accountants. So
Satish, I have taken Vinay Rao on the spotlight. Okay. Vinay, I hope you will help us, help Katie in developing some kind of app or something. That's why I put on your spotlight. Vinay, can I count on your support?
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah, okay.
I can actually also mentor people here, like who actually want help in developing their skills. And being a software architect, I can basically help people who actually need any help regarding their career. I certainly can help.
Okay.
Anybody.
Thank you, Vinay. He's with Dell. Thank you so much.
I'm with Dell Technologies.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Next question is that I do not have the name. It says Redmi. I hope that person can manage to identify himself or herself. Okay, this question is, while we carry on through the career and aiming, feedback and introspection, how does these two things work hand in hand? How do we move on while getting feedback and introspection?
I will just add on. His name is Arun Tankala. He says, while we carry on, we are working, we are in the career. So we hope feedback and introspection is required. How we are moving on. Any tips how to get this feedback? Is there an agency? How to choose a person who will give me feedback? I think both of you can talk, Satish and Katie.
The first person you can fall back on to feedback is your line manager. I wouldn't say 100% he's perfect, but at least 80% he'll be honest, and he'll give you a feedback as to what are all the areas to cover. So typically human mentality, I think I know everything, my line manager is wrong, or my other colleague is wrong because I am right always. So probably we should come out of that mindset and that positive receipt and acknowledge the feedback positively. And probably then you go back and analyze yourself. Is it true? Am I really bad in this area? Am I really behaving badly in this area? I think I've covered it before, but at the cost of repentance, I think success is not all about exactly the job that you are supposed to deliver. It's all about your relations, your ability to, the loyalty to the company, your commitment to your job, and how you are interpreted by senior to you and junior to you. I think feedback from 360 degrees would really have to be accepted, analyzed, and then an improvement can be planned.
Yeah, it's a very broad. I think Satish beautifully said it. I'll put it very simply. Generally, when I go and talk to my manager, I think for the feedback, remember anything which is hard feedback, we call areas that needs to be improvement. So we don't call a polished way of saying negatives and positives. It's very common to say. Don't use those. Try using my areas of strength and my areas of opportunities to learn and improve upon. I think the way of changing will change your mindset. So if the moment you say to any other person, can you please tell me the areas that I can improve upon, they will be very open to give you because they don't want to hurt you. The moment you say, give me my negatives, that negative itself is negative. So try avoiding that and use an alternative called areas of improvement. Second, don't wait for a feedback session for an end of appraisal. So I think most, if you're a working professional, general tendency in our across is wait for the appraisal, and appraisal you will be given a feedback and you will be given probably a raise and a bonus or whatever. If you wait for that period of time for the feedback, it's too late to change what could be your pay raise, what could be a promotion. My suggestion would be feedback is also a continuous loop. You should start seeking feedback month on month, or a quarter basis, and don't, like Satish said, go to a line manager. They were the best judges of you, and try taking, areas of improvement with stride. Take it with a smile if somebody tells you that here is the area for you to improve upon. Generally, feedback sessions for managers, and if I'm a manager, I'm trying to give a feedback, those are the hardest times, because people will come with tears if you give them a hard feedback. So you should encourage also to give other people to give feedback. I think go with the open mindset. All of us have open areas, areas to improve. So as you go with the open mindset, I'm sure you can learn more.
More like attitude, and not going in with an ego, because that is what
Absolutely.
I have learned. It is okay if somebody points out your mistakes. No, we have to change our attitude in a way that it says room for learning. Nobody is God here. That is, I think,
Absolutely.
the attitude which starts.
And Latha, if you may add, if somebody, and I'm sure in a corporate world is very easy, if you're working with a very difficult manager, very common to get into a very difficult manager to work with. If they give you feedback which you think might not be applicable to your, your role, ask them a secondary question or a second question called, please tell me, how does this feedback that you're giving it to me will help me improve my job, will help me to improve our productivity. The moment you ask applicability question, people will have to come into the line and give you a specific feedback. So if you're having a hard manager or a difficult manager to work, this is the small advice that I can give. Ask for applicability, and I'm sure you will get a right answer.
I wish I got these, I got to hear from you before I actually made my own mistakes.
Thanks, Katie and Satish Garu. Actually, I got it very well. And Katie Garu, I hope you read my mind in the last question. And that's where I got the question here. Because in the given scenarios, I mean, as you rightly pointed, the best point of contact to get the feedback is line manager. But here the scenario, while the line manager is often changing, and it takes some time for them to know about the associate and what the capabilities are and how they are capable enough to deliver the deliverables. But here the real challenge is where the line manager is frequently changing upon, and trying to get the frequent feedbacks is getting a challenge, because they say, I mean, it's a kind of one-word statement, but which it doesn't really help me to understand if there is any areas of improvement, or I am doing good or bad is a kind of a question.
Thank you, Arun. Thank you very much. So, since you didn't switch on your video, I didn't give you the unmuting. Okay, we'll move on, Latha.
Yeah, thank you.
Your next question.
The next question. Okay, this is from Mr. Sai Tarun Baratam. What should be the mindset of a particular person to start investing? This is for direct to Satish Garu.
How to become a startup entrepreneur?
I would say he's the one with who handles money.
Probably, at least for the 5 years, don't expect profits, but expect creating wealth. So none of the startups, whether you talk about Amazon, Flipkart, and Ola, whatever company you call, no one is making money. No one is making profits. However, look into the valuation is multi-billion dollars. So what they give to the investor is only a wealth because of the share price increase, not profits. So the mindset of investors completely shifted from a profit making or a dividend making to a wealth creation.
Exit strategies, as we call it.
Very well answered. Next question.
Next question, sir. Mr. Rajendra Kusti. At what age? It's a nice question. I would like answers from both the panels. At what age should we ask our child about their aims or future plans? It's a complicated question, but I would like to hear from both of you.
I could go first, actually, because this is what I'm trying to do with my younger daughter. I have two daughters. The first one, I've given one example. Second one, she's in 7th standard now. I started bouncing ideas. See, remember, as the kid and goes into different ages, groups, different standards, their minds will keep changing. So idea is to have an open dialogue. Once you might want to become a pilot, the next moment you might become a fashion designer, maybe engineer, maybe a doctor. I think there is no fixed time frame. We all as parents know there is no coming back from +1 or intermediate onwards. So before that, you should start having the dialogue, have that dialogue continuously, understand what the kid interests are. Don't have that, okay, today I'm going to decide in next 15 minutes what you want to do. It's too late. So have that discussion as early as possible. Start helping to making the kids realize what they're saying. If somebody saying that, I want to become a pilot, maybe they got inspired by looking at a movie or a cartoon or something else. So have the dialogue with them on continuous basis, and make sure that by when they're about age of 14 or 15, you should start firming up or help them firming up their views and plans, because that is the age where you're ready to shoot. And before that is what we should do planning.
Latha, now we'll have to go to T20 mode.
Yes, sir, I can.
Questions and
I can.
answers, fast mode. Fast mode.
Okay, sir, I can. Okay, next question is from Mr. Vinay Rao. One suggestion to freshers is to participate in, it's not a question, it's more like a suggestion. One suggestion to freshers is to participate in hackathon and coding competition.
Very good.
This will give a very good exposure in problem solving.
Good
I think Mr. KT has covered this quite broadly.
Next question.
Next question is from Mr. Aaron, dear Prasad Patragaru. What is the future in QA automation?
I would say diminishing. My simple answer. For more, I'm happy to connect separately. The more and more time you're spending in a QA, less and less opportunities going forward.
Sir, do I go on with more questions? Because I have 10,000 questions, even if nobody is asking.
No, just choose anyone. Vinod has raised his hand. He's from Karvi Consultants. Maybe.
Yeah. Thank you, Uncle. See, myself, Vinod. I have one request to parents. See, basically, I'm from HR community. So while I conduct exit interviews, so I find a common question from the freshers. Like, see, freshers, what happens? They start their career, they join as a trainee. So their salaries are at the bracket of 1 lakh to 2 lakh or max 2.5. So here, what happens? Like these people, they work in metro cities. The cost of living is high. So here, what the important point is, like parents, they normally they tell their kids, like, Babu, no 10,000 రూపాయలు నీకు అక్కడ వస్తుంది. It's better రోజంతా నువ్వు కష్టపడతావు. It's better you come to hometown. ఇక్కడ మనం like we can start our business. This kind of feedback I'm getting. So what my request is, like to all the parents, we should encourage our kids. Like, so it's the initial stage. So first 1 year or 2 years, they'll be in that bracket. So we have to give that opportunity or like timeline to go to the next level.
Yes. Your point is well made.
Sir, one more question. I don't want to miss out on this. This is from Mr. P. Bhargav. I'm an MBA graduate and having 5 years of experience in accounts. I want to do job in SAP. Please support me. I think our KT Garu will be able to handle it.
It's a very transactional question. I'm more than help him to point which companies are hiring in SAP. But already with 5 years experience, they should be able to know SAP is very widely used. If you put yours is a specialist skill in LinkedIn, if you are if you are on a job portals like Naukri or Indeed and stuff like that, mention SAP. SAP is a very broad word. In SAP, what you specialist in. SAP has several modules, if you want to call it as. So SAP is a company name. They make a lot of products. So if you specialize that, it will help you to find job faster.
GP Rao sir,
one
I
last
think I've covered lastly all questions.
Okay. You covered
one
all
hand raised. I think we have attended to that hand raised also.
Okay. That's very nice. So you can go ahead asking them for their parting lines.
Okay. I have actually learned myself many pointers which every day we have to learn. Nobody can actually sit down today. Okay. I think we have arrived. We never arrive. We only want to arrive, but that doesn't happen. On that note, I would request both the panel members to just give one-liners which our young generation, as well as the parents and as well as people like me who is open to learning, can keep it in their heart and mind. Satish Garu.
You unmute.
Mantras. Satish.
Yeah.
Satish,
Sorry,
unmute. Yeah.
I lost the voice. I couldn't hear you guys.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, now I can.
I'm asking for a one-liner as a closing sentence in GP Rao sir's word mantra.
In the finance and accounts, you want to be successful, what one should do?
Study for learning, work for growth, never study for examination and certificate, and don't work for salary. Probably this is my takeaway.
I would like to have staff who don't work for salary.
Take care of them, right?
Katie?
I have two. In IT world, we call that actually the world is small. Make sure that you build your relationships because the world, you cross the paths again very, very easily. So that's the first one. Second one, my favorite and something that I fundamentally believe, and first one also I fundamentally believe, stop learning, stop earning. That means the day you stop learning, that career is done.
Very nice. Wonderful. Latha, you want the president to add something and a parting one-liner, president?
Yeah, Mr.
President?
Yeah. I would want to say that I'm so very glad that we could do this.
Okay.
And it looks like a dream, like how the entire process went on, the kind of questions were asked, the kind of pointers the kind of slides, it shows so much of depth.
Yes.
You can make a 40-page presentation, but then in 3 slides, Gagar mein Sagar, in Hindi they say, so much knowledge and so much to share. And I'm sure most of the youngsters are going back home much more clearer. And also the idea of this platform for mentors and internships and the students and the career, it sounds very, very exciting.
Wonderful.
And we can do a lot of value add to our community across India. Thank you so much, GP Rao sir, for curating this.
No.
Thank you.
I always tell young students, whether they do engineering, graduation, MBA, or young executives, always remember what you know, can you do it? That is what the organization see. You may know many things. Can you do it? We call it contextual sensitivity. Number 2, can you stretch the rupee? Commercial acumen, baniya buddhi. Number 3, collaboration. Can you partner with others? Can you work along with others? Next is creative learning, smart learning. And last one is your communication has to be impactful, not flowery English, impactful communication. If you can do that, it will always help you in whatever. Now, Raj Latha, for your summing up, you are summing up.
I can't sum it up in one or two sentences because there's a lot we have all learned. Personally, myself, and I hope parents and the students who have joined, and specifically women, I've warned you this word will come. I hope some of them have taken they've got the answers that they're looking for, and we're all open to help you. And both the panel members have shown their keen interest in being open to take many questions offline. If you can actually email us on the chat box, we'll be able to do answer.
Thank you. So I will help you. In my summary is both the speakers, both Satish and KTP, have really created a platform for all of us. When I was reading the slides, 39 courses available, 13, I was counting. So we always think CA, ICW are just computer engineering, electronics engineering. How the way they were explaining the critical skills required, courses available, opportunities available, wonderful. They opened gates within 40 minutes, lots of learnings. Good questions were also there, very good questions. Very good. Now, after the session is formally over, another 3 minutes, the formal over, we'll keep the Zoom on. Anybody who wants to ask a question, if Katie and Satish have got some more time, we'll keep it open for 10-15 minutes. You can ask in Telugu or Odia. We'll keep it informal, but the formal session will go over with a very quick T20 vote of thanks to Ganesh Pusti. 2 minutes vote of thanks. Ganesh Pusti, Vice President. Yes, sir, you have to unmute, Mr. Pusti. Mr. Prusti, can you unmute? Yes, sir. 2 minutes, vote of thanks.
I'm Dr. Ganesh Prusti, Vice President of this KVS, and I'm sure all of us have enjoyed a lot. And it is my honor and privilege now to present vote of thanks to all who have helped to make this event eventful. In fact, in this complex era of job hunting and all, parents are more confused than the children. I'm very much thankful to Mr. KT and Mr. Satish, who have complemented each other and given the insight of job hunting or career opportunities. Before I speak anything about the meeting, I would like to thank each and every person of this executive committee with the leadership of Mr. Kotni, who have arranged so nicely. In fact, Mrs. Latha Kotni also, as a moderator, she has put all the views of the now, and you have arranged such a good orators here. And with this, I'm closing this one, and I'm handing over to Mr. GP Rao for further interaction with the people, those who have doubts.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. GP Rao.
So now it is a gallery view. You can all unmute and talk. And I requested both the speakers today, and also Ashok Boina, Srinivas Kotni, Ram Prasad. You can recognize the presence of our friends and well-wishers who come from outside Delhi. So Srinivas Kotni, Ram Prasad, and Ashok Boina. And if anybody wants a question, also you can ask. So this is informal.
Can I speak out, sir?
Yes, yes.
Sir, I have a small suggestion. Can we open a website linking our community personals in different fields so that any student or any fresher or maybe even experienced professional, if they want to just sort out a career, it will be easy for communicating and taking the help from others.
Ramangal, we just discussed that, in fact, a little while back, where Katie has agreed to help us offline in making such kind of a website or a platform or app, whatever it may be. And so Vinay also was kind enough to come forward and then offer his help.
That's wonderful, sir. But today's session is very, very lively, and I appreciate all the organizers and the speakers. Really, I mean, I can say that it's a very, very delicious dish, I can say. So tasty.
Someone has asked us to share the slides. If I think we have the slides, is there any common platform to share the slides, sir?
Slides we don't do. We share the recording.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So, can I say something, sir?
Please, please.
This is Prasad Patro, Secretary to KVS Delhi. I'm very really thankful to Katie sir and Satish ji for giving a nice suggestions and a good discussion about the career opportunities and all for kids. So here I have one small question. I hear a lot of things in US, parents they put their kids for the robotic classes and all. So here in India, how a benefit it is for robotic classes for small kids, and what age actually they should start with? It might be very specific to Katie sir.
Mr. Ramprasad, did you say robotics classes?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have several of these apps, we call that now, like a White Hat Junior. That's one such platform that's available in the market. It's the co-founder name is Mr. Karan Bajaj from Mumbai. So they built this beautiful platform for giving a taste of programming to kids. And there's no age barrier. So there are some of the smartest people can, get an opportunity to code early, why not? There are strong programmers, very strong, good programmers at the age of 10, 11. Even if you know the Bill Gates, Microsoft co-founder, also started the career very, very early when they're in teens. So as long as your kid is enjoying what they're doing, they're liking what they're doing, no barrier. I would only say the sooner the better. If they're enjoying it, if you can afford it, if you can provide to them, please do it early so that they will really become awesome people and awesome programmer, awesome techies, we call them. By the time they get an opportunity to perform and stuff like that.
Good evening, sir. Can I have a question to Mr. KT Prasad, sir?
Identify yourself, sir.
I am KKB Gupta, mechanical engineer from South Central Railway, Secunderabad. I am a middle level manager, graduated in 83 in mechanical branch, but working in the core engineering, not in the IT. I am new to IT. My both kids are in IT. My elder son is in Amazon with 23 lakhs package, graduated from NIT Jamshedpur, and my younger son is with 1 year experience. He is getting working in a startup company with 10 lakhs package. Mr. Prasad has said 3 words in one of his slide. AWS means Amazon Web Service. Can he repeat other 2 words, names and full abbreviation, please?
Sure. Amazon Web Services that you said. Second is Microsoft Azure.
What is its abbreviation, sir? Code?
The name itself is called, the product name is Azure. So I will put that into the chat window. So if you see it now, Mr. Gupta,
yes,
so that's called Microsoft Azure. It's a product, it's a platform, it's a Google Microsoft cloud platform. Name is called Azure.
Okay, Microsoft. Okay,
correct.
Okay.
And
Understood.
the third one is GCP, also called as Google Cloud Platform. I'll also type it for you so it becomes easy.
Okay.
Google
Cloud Platform.
And I want to congratulate for your both the sons, both the kids. You've given them great education. They're doing a fantastic jobs.
Sir, one thing I want to share you. We were graduated in long back in '83 from Getam Engineering College, Visakhapatnam. Ours is the first merit batch. N.T. Rama Rao has taken without capitation fee. That's why we got opportunity. Otherwise, my family could not have financial ability to join me in engineering college that time. After passing out, because of lack of guidance, I have not chosen IT field and chosen core field. Most of my classmates are in IT field. Out of 120 batch, more than 60 people are settled in IT field, and most of them are settled in US and other Western countries.
Thank you so much.
Because of lack of knowledge, lack of knowledge at that time, I could not enter in IT field. I ended up with core field. Now I am learning from my children what is the importance of IT field.
No, you've done well, sir. You've done well.
Mr. Gupta, it is never late.
Never late. You have done well in your life.
So, in fact, just to give an example, whatever is your destiny, nobody can change it. I was in the IT field for the initial 3 years of my career, between 93 and 96, and I went into law. So therefore, whatever you pick up, you passionately do it. I think we should be happy for that. There's no need to repent in life.
Thank you, Gupta garu. Meeru vachinanduku ee roju na invitation accept chesinanduku. Thank you very much. And because of your busy time, you are especially spared your time and joining this for us. Gupta garu, KK Gupta garu, thank you so much.
Anybody else wants to say? Satish is there, Latha's brother. I can see him.
He is a CA himself and has started his stint in political career in Palasa.
Satish, can you please tell us, because you were the first attempter, you were a rank holder. Why did you not decide to get into a corporate job or some kind of that kind of a platform? And why did you decide to practice in your hometown? You just...
Good evening to all.
Evening. Please go on.
Yeah. As my father's wish is to be in a practice in Palasa and to do service also to the hometown. So I decided to start my practice in Palasa, and I'm doing well here. And at the same time, we have other goals also to do service in a channel which is very tough, that is politics, and I am traveling in that also. As far as practice is concerned, is more very happy, and we can do wonders in this. If in the job we cannot have so much of freedom on it, in practice we can.
So young CAs who are coming out of the institute, passing, what is your advice to them?
Now the trend is almost changed. Nobody is coming to the practice. Everybody interested in again they want to do some course in IT and something, and they are almost they are going to job only. Nobody else is now to be in practice now.
Thank you. Mr. Anand from Uganda, I think, has joined. Sir, can you introduce yourself and let us know how you felt about today's...
I'm very sorry to intervene. I'm signing off. I have domestic jobs. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you.
1 minute, Raj Latha. 1 minute, Anand garu, 1 minute. On behalf of the audience, I want to compliment Raj Latha for a wonderful moderation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Latha.
Srinivas, my name is Kottakota Anand Rao. I'm based at Uganda. 7 days back, I resigned. I have completed my assignment with Glenmark. I was the country manager for Glenmark. Then I have completed my assignment and I joined with a company called Artemis Life Sciences as a CEO based at Kampala, looking after the business for Uganda. Now I got to know about this meeting. You will be surprised. This has come from Kenya, our neighboring country, Kenya. So there is a guy called Prasad, who is a Arya Vaishya. He said, somebody, Kottakota is talking. It may be your relative. Why don't you attend this program? So I have attended this program. This is the second time I'm associated with KVS Delhi. It is a wonderful program. I was feeling very happy that Prasad and Satish have told very nice, and the other girl, Lata also. I think it was a great inspiration, great motivation to us. I was recollecting that what not to do as a father. Like when my daughter was studying, of course, she is now in US. When she was studying, I said, you go to Narayana for your intermediate. Narayana and Chaitanya are very good. So she says, I am good at drawing. For architecture, I don't require to go there. I said, no, you go there because you also should know what not to do as a parent. I think what Prasad was saying, that you should listen to your children. Children are very good. She scored very well in US when she has gone for her design management final year course last 2 years. So what I mean to say is that my suggestion to everyone is that as a parent, you listen to your children, what they want, you please allow them to do, and they do exceedingly well.
Thank you,
and
sir.
Yeah, that is what I suggest, because our experience is very limited. We look from an angle of course, the current generation is different. We look from an angle of what is good for our children, but the children look what is good for them, and they are most of the times they are correct.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We are holding Satish and KT Prasad. If anybody has got a question, please ask them. Otherwise, they are free to exit.
One more suggestion, sir, before that. If we can take, if anybody is interested in becoming a mentor or mentee,
Yeah,
We can take their numbers and email IDs on the chat box so that whenever the platform is ready, we have fresh.
Sure. That's a very good idea. Good idea.
Very well done.
Thank you, sir.
It was a
Anybody
nice program.
else has got any question? Otherwise, there are no questions. I request Ashok can recognize people who have come from outside Delhi. Anand Garu was there. Satish was there from Srikakulam. Who else was there?
I am also not able to recognize, only Mr. KK Gupta who recognized, and he also asked the question also.
Nice.
And I'm very thankful. Maybe I don't know some people who joined through my groups. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining today. And if you have any questions, please.
I will quickly say Vinay Rao is from Bangalore, currently joined from Raigada. CA Satish, I think he has joined from Srikakulam. Dr. GP Ramana joined from Raigada. I can see who else. Then I can see Srinivas Prasad asked a question.
He's also a chartered accountant, actually.
Yeah, he asked a question. Then Subun Kumar is from Raigada again. Wonderful. Anyone else wants to say something? Otherwise, we'll call it a day. Right, President, it's for you.
Thank you, Mr. KT.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you, everyone.